Good evening, everybody. It's Bart from Multi-Rotor This is just going to be a quick video to show you a couple of details that need to be in place before we can put our top frame plate into place. Okay, the first thing, and I mentioned this in an earlier video when we were discussing the mod I made doing the dual battery wires, to put the wire on the bottom of the bottom plate, and I think you can see it there, the top of the bottom frame plate. In order to make room for that so that things weren't going to be laying on top of each other, I put about 1/2 inch of blue foam underneath my NAZA. And what I used to hold the blue foam in place is this product. I went to Lowe's Home Center, walked around till I found something that I thought would work. It's a very thin tape, it's fabric, it's got an adhesive on each side, so it doesn't add any thickness to stuff. It's very tacky, and I put that between the foam and the frame plate, and then between the foam and the NAZA, and it's pretty strong stuff. But because I don't want to leave the NAZA just adhering to a block of foam with a layer of tape, I want something holding it. I put an elastic band over the top. Elastic band, it's not exactly the greatest option. It's not going to last forever, so I am going to have to check it periodically, make sure it's not drying out, make sure it hasn't broken altogether. But the elastic band is going to keep the NAZA from popping loose from the foam. Now this frame plate with the copper on top and bottom for our power distribution, you can't just go drilling holes through it using metal fasteners and stuff. So to get that elastic band to stay in place, I stuck the elastic band down through the little space I had on either side of the foam, and I just stuck a wooden dowel through it. Okay, so that'll keep my NAZA from busting loose, because if this thing busts loose and starts floating around, as it's floating, it thinks that's the helicopter. And so if it's floating and it's floating to the right, it's going to try to make the helicopter do the opposite, to right itself. But actually the helicopter and the NAZA are going to be independent of each other at that point, so it's just going to go out of control. I actually had a quad almost hit me because the flight controller came loose inside the frame. Long story. That was the early dark days of quadcopters. But anyway, the NAZA has to be pointing forward. Okay, I put my red arms in the back. The NAZA, the motor wires, have to be in the front. This is a huge mistake that a lot of people make, and they wonder why things don't fly right. So the motor wires come out in the front. I happen to have my red arms in the back. Okay, and then the channels for your receiver also come out the back where the red arms are. Okay, motor wires in the front, receiver wires out the back. And you see here, I just put a zip tie very loosely around the wires at the front of the frame plate, and that's just to be neat. Okay, and then one more thing I mentioned early on, the zip ties have a tendency to slide around against this hard plastic, so I just put a little glob of hot glue on each side to keep them from wandering around. If somebody comes up with a better way to do it, I would love to hear it, but for now, that's what I'm going with. I really want to get this thing flying. We still have to put it on the computer. That's going to be a 10 or 15 minute video, but I want to get it zipped up. I want to be able to hook it up to the computer, make sure my motors are all turning in the right direction, and get it out and fly. Now real quick, I was going to mount a DJI Zenmuse, the H32D. I was going to mount it to this, and I got that in the mail today. It's not going to work because of the mod I made, and this is where planning ahead makes a difference. I wasn't really sure what I was going to do with this. My original intent was just to hard mount a GoPro on there for FPV flying. Deciding after the fact to put a Zenmuse H32D on it. This actually has to mount to the lower frame plate. There's a little bit of planning that has to go into it. There's 3 mounting points. Although I guess you could use these 3 holes also. I haven't really looked at the directions very closely yet, but the point is, this has to go here, and I don't want to have to go buy somebody else's adapter plate or mounting kit or anything like that. It should be pretty simple to do, but you have to plan ahead. So this isn't going to go on here. I'm going to go back to my plan to hard mount the GoPro, and I'll still show you guys what my trick was for adding the third axis. We'll still do that at the end of this project, but for now we're going to get moving. I'm going to finish putting the frame together. We'll do a short video on programming. I might just find a programming video on the internet and post that. There's a lot of them out there. I'll just look for a good one for you guys. Alright, so that's it. We're moving along. We're very close to flying. If you're following along at home, if you haven't put your NASA Assistant onto your laptop yet, you need to do that, because your moment of reckoning is coming. You're going to have to deal with the computer configuration aspects of building a helicopter. Alright, that's it. Thank you for watching. Post any questions in the thread. Multirotorforums.com, group Flamewheel NASA quadcopter build. Bye-bye.